first and foremost, let me congratulate all of you, all Indian friends and colleagues on Diwali. So, Diwali की हमारे हार्दिक बधाइयाँ और शुभकामनाएं। भाग ऊपरवाले करे ताकि आप सब लोग और आपके परिवार दोस्त हमेशा खुश और तंदुरुस्त रहे। Diwali Mubarak ho. So welcome. Thank you very much for joining. So our today's press briefing will be dedicated to the outcomes of the SCO Summit, which took place the day before yesterday on the 10th of November, and the announcement for the coming BRICS Summit next week. But before we come to the details of all these events, let me make a few housekeeping announcements, since this is a comparatively new format of our interaction. So first we will discuss these two main topics, and then we will proceed to the question and answer session. We have received before a number of questions already, and I will take them first, and then everyone would please feel free to question more, whatever you want. We will try to benefit all of you today. And after the briefing is over, we will shortly circulate a transcript of our conversation so that for your ready reference and perusal. And another new moment for us today is that among the participants, we have the representatives of the India-Russia Youth Forum. So welcome, guys, to this press briefing. Hopefully that also would be very interesting for you. So let us start. So we are meeting today right after the SCO Summit, which was concluded on the 10th of November, and prior to the BRICS Summit, which will take place on 17th of November under the Russian Chairmanship. Both events, one particular thing in common. All member states are committed to predictability in international relations based on multipolarity, central role of the United Nations and its charter, as well as international law. Grateful to all Indian partners and friends in the Ministry of External Affairs and other line agencies for the support of the agenda for the SCO and BRICS this year. Amid global uncertainty, both associations remain extremely relevant when it comes to a collective response to contemporary challenges, especially COVID-19. Major takeaways of the SCO Summit are the Moscow Declaration, Action Plan for the SCO Development Strategy till 2025, Comprehensive Plan to Counter Epidemics, statements on the 75th anniversary of the victory in the Second World War, against the spread of terrorist, separatist, and extremist ideology, on information security, on joint efforts against the novel coronavirus infection. President Putin noted that the SCO foreign and defense policy activities significantly intensified with the main focus on the Eurasian region, including joint exercises aimed against terrorism, drug trafficking, and other challenges. The situation in Afghanistan remains as the issue of a particular concern. Our efforts are designed to help the country to become stable and peaceful, as well as support national reconciliation, including at the platform of Moscow consultations and the SCO Afghanistan contact group. Among the challenges, increasing attempts of direct foreign interference in domestic affairs in neighboring states, including Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, Moldova. Economic and humanitarian agenda in the SCO becomes especially important amid current recession. It is implemented in the framework of multilateral trade and economic cooperation program, Business Council, Interbank Association, Youth Council, and Forum of the Regions. We are welcoming the Indian initiative to launch an innovation and startups working group. Russia also is keen to support the Indian chairmanship of the SCO Heads of Governments meeting, which will take place on 30th of November this year. Now we proceed to the coming 12th BRICS Summit under the Russian Chairmanship next week. It will be held under the motto BRICS Partnership for Global Stability, Shared Security and Innovative Growth, which reflects comprehensive and long-term commitment to supplement a response of the global community to current challenges and to increase potential of cooperation for the sake of well-being of the peoples of the 5 nations. Despite the pandemic, we have witnessed more than 150 events, expert and high-level meetings, which mostly were held in the format of video conferences, including 2 foreign ministers meetings. During the summit, the leaders are expected to approve the BRICS counter-terrorism strategy, which would allow to work out common measures and more closely coordinate in the United Nations and other fora, promote implementation of the UN Global Counter-Terrorism Strategy, and an early adoption of comprehensive counter-terrorism international strategy, CCIT, which is the Indian initiative. Then, Economic Partnership Strategy till 2025, practical launch of the Energy Research Cooperation Platform and Women Business Alliance, establishment of the BRICS International Competition Policy Center, expansion of partnership in areas such as interparliamentary direction. We highly appreciate the participation of the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla in the 6th Parliamentary Forum, which is expected to be further institutionalized. Then we come to the investments and e-commerce facilitation, science and technology, artificial intelligence, academic and civil society exchanges, and even sports. As part of the traditional BRICS coordination on G20 agenda, we are promoting dialogue on the issues of pandemic, support of a new and equal financial architecture and reform of the global governance, as well as multilateral trading system with the central role of the WTO. As far as COVID-19 is concerned, cooperation on that fits well in the well-established BRICS healthcare agenda. We appeal to an increased relevant scientific and practical data exchange in order to support developing a comprehensive global approach to prevent the situations detrimental to the public health. In this regard, we are considering creation of a BRICS integrated early warning system to prevent infectious diseases risks. We maintain close interaction with the WHO. Welcome the progress achieved by the BRICS Tuberculosis Research Network and encourage an early setup of the BRICS Vaccine Research and Development Center. In this context of pandemic, Russia earlier this year proposed to open so-called green corridors, free from trade wars and sanctions, for uninterrupted supply of medicines, PPEs, and vital humanitarian goods. In the financial area, our proud achievement is the expansion of the portfolio of the new development bank, crossing $20 billion investments for more than 60 infrastructure projects. The bank also decided to provide $10 billion to support member states in their fight against pandemic. The process of the expansion of the NDB stakeholders is getting a solid impetus. The bank currently enjoys AA+ long-term credit rating by Fitch and S&P and AAA by Japan Credit Rating. Contingent currency arrangement is operational. New financial initiatives are promotion of BRICS data room for infrastructure projects and an integrated payment system, BRICS Pay. Focus to expand use of national currencies remains. We are looking forward to support the Indian chairmanship in BRICS in 2021. So then I would proceed further to the questions which we received before. on various issues of bilateral and multilateral agenda. Let me begin with the issues raised by Diplomatist magazine and DD News, which are related to our bilateral agenda. Our bilateral agenda remains robust and ever expanding. This year we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the strategic partnership, as well as 75th anniversary of the end of the Second World War and the establishment of the UN. Highly appreciate the Indian co-sponsorship of one of the core Russia proposed annual UNGA resolutions on combating glorification of Nazism, neo-Nazism, and racial discrimination. It means a lot for us. In view of global uncertainty and turbulence, we are looking forward to further streamlining our dedicated partnership and coordination when India becomes a non-permanent member in the United Nations Security Council for the years 2021 and 2022. We reiterate our consistent support to the Indian candidature to the permanent membership. Although it would require a maximum broad consensus focused on empowering developing countries from Asia, Africa, and Latin America in order to ensure geographically balanced expansion. Our ties go beyond traditional areas and become an increasingly integral part of development strategies of each other. Russia, as of now, is the only foreign country which is in practical terms involved in the Indian nuclear power sector, contributing to the national energy security. Our unparalleled defense cooperation helps India to advance local production based on modern technologies and joint ventures, and to expand its military export potential. We were happy to welcome Defense Minister Rajnath Singh twice in Moscow this year. The Indian partners show growing engagement in the Russian Far East, oil and gas sector, coking coal, diamonds, innovation, infrastructure, civil aviation, shipbuilding, and other projects. Together, we work to expand regional connectivity by jointly promoting the North-South International Transport Corridor and Vladivostok-Chennai Maritime Sea Road. Space, artificial intelligence, and information security partnership, use of national currencies in international trade, ensure interconnection of national payment systems, as well as launch India-Eurasian Economic Union Free Trade Area. All that would help us to achieve $30 billion in mutual trade by 2025. Facing challenges of COVID-19, we are very satisfied with the way both countries are supporting each other. It also includes cooperation on trials, supplies, and production of the Russian Sputnik V vaccine. It is confirming its safety and effectiveness to boost strong immune response, more than 90%. And it's confirmed by the Lancet. After some necessary technical steps, the vaccine very soon would be widely available. As far as future highest level bilateral contacts is concerned, details are still under consideration, taking into account the current circumstances. Among them are, of course, Civil and Defense Intergovernmental Commission meetings, Interparliamentary Commission, as well as the summit. However, as you can see, there is a great and tremendous job being done intersessionally. Then let me proceed to the question raised by Strat News Global and Rakshak News with regard to the Russian reaction, Russian position on the current Indo-China relations. Russia, remains to be in a unique position since it has special and strategic partnership with both India and China, and these relationships are independent in nature. We are naturally concerned with the Indo-China current tensions. However, we believe that peaceful solution is inevitable, better sooner than later. Both are global and responsible neighboring powers with huge economic, manpower, defense potential, as well as civilizational wisdom. It is clear that amid global turbulence and unpredictability, escalation between India and China would further affect regional instability in our common home, Eurasia. While escalation as we are witnessing, can be misused by other players in their geopolitical purposes. Having all that in mind, we feel it's very important to encourage both our Asian-friendly countries to be more engaged in a constructive dialogue. Recent news about their commitment to exercise restraint and maintain communication through diplomatic and military channels to remove tensions are absolutely welcoming developments. Certainly, respectful dialogue is a main tool when it comes to cooperation in the framework of the SCO and BRICS. It's very helpful to expand common ground and mutual trust. Both associations have developed dozens of mechanisms of sector-wise collaboration. And let me assure you that the relevant mutual interest is growing. For the same reason, we don't see any problem with the Indian partnership with the US, of course, and other countries. Moreover, such question would be incorrect in terms of the current globalized world and contemporary diplomacy. Again, New Delhi is a global player with multifaceted and widely diversified national interests. And we respect that, while on the other hand, ISA doesn't provide any reason for doubt when it comes to the multilateral and bilateral commitments. Even though we know that there are attempts to pressurize India and use unfair and illegal competition tools such as threats of sanctions and other restrictions. Importantly, let's not forget about another very promising trilateral mechanisms, RIC, Russia, India, China, which will also be chaired by India next year. We are confident that it is well designed to ensure positive atmosphere and expand its practical agenda. All these mechanisms can also provide more opportunities for important bilateral engagements, like it happened many times already, including this year, successful meetings of Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar with their respected Chinese counterparts in Moscow in September, particularly. Then I would like to come next to the question raised by the print with regards to Quad mechanisms and Malabar exercises. Let us proceed from the following. We have no doubts, let me reiterate that we have no doubts about the Indian approach to promote inclusive maritime connectivity, disaster management, blue economy, and humanitarian cooperation in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. However, it can be noted that an Indo-Pacific strategy is actively promoted by the Quad, but the understanding of the strategy is different even in the member states of this mechanism. Let's be very clear that it's too early to expand this strategy to the whole region, and a comprehensive, forward-looking, all-inclusive dialogue would be further required. We are ready for that, but it should be based on the principles of undivided security and international law rather than some rules-based world order. These are numerous cases when these so-called rules were aimed against Russia and other sovereign countries to justify unilateral sanctions, attempts to interfere in domestic affairs, and regime change. Such rules were used to increasingly politicize the international organizations, including OPCW, WHO, and others. We don't accept attempts to create alienation lines in the region by promoting philosophy of restricted security blocks and imposing forced changes in supply chains for geopolitical reasons. It leads to even more mistrust and eventually brings Indo-Pacific idea away from the regional consensus, replacing cooperation with competition and even rivalry. At the same time, we would like to draw your attention to the President Putin's initiative to promote the Great Eurasian Partnership, providing for cooperation among regional associations to deal with common challenges and threats on the principles of the UN Charter, international law, and undivided security. Because global challenges require a unified agenda. And it's now vital to unite the potential we have developed multilaterally. Conceptually, it may be called integration of integrations. For example, in line with this initiative, we are promoting partnership between the SCO and ASEAN.